Hello, I'm Anja from Yogaembodied, and today I'm here with Lily from Sport. So we'll do some very simple yoga poses to stretch the back and to create a bit of strength and also to relax a bit. So Lily, your first 3 weeks pregnant?
Yes, today, and this is my first time really trying yoga properly. So I've read about all the benefits in pregnancy, so I'm quite excited to learn some moves that I can hopefully use.
Great. So these are poses you can do at home as long as you have a wall and a chair near you. So we'll start basically resting against the wall. So you'll have your feet a little bit away from the wall, and you can rest your sacrum, so your lower back, your shoulders, and the back of your head against the wall. So if you feel super strong, you can bend your knees quite a lot. But if you feel a bit more fatigued today, you can just have a slight bend in your knees. So you find what works for you today. You can have your feet a little bit wider, so you have a bit more space, and maybe just rest your hands on your baby. So this is just a nice way just to notice what our spine is doing. So we have the lateral curves in the spine, but we'll play around with that a bit. So as you inhale, just allow your abdomen to expand, breathing into your hands, down to your baby. And as you exhale, just relax the buttocks, relax the shoulders. So on your next inhale, imagine you can press your back against the wall, so the tailbone goes slightly down. And then as you exhale, you relax. So there will be a little bit of a massage on the lower back. So we inhale, you let the lower back release away from the wall, and then as you exhale, just, we'll stay here for the breath out. So on the next inhale, we'll draw our back towards the wall, and as you exhale, the lateral curves come back. So a few more breaths, press the feet down. As you inhale, the back moves towards the wall, and exhale, there's a softness. So you're going to even engage the pelvic floor here. So on the inhale, the pelvic floor engages, and you feel the lower back pressing back. And then as you exhale, the pelvic floor relaxes, and there's a natural curve again. We'll just do 2 more breaths like this. So there's a sense of lengthening the lower back, and a sense of release. We start to notice how our legs, our pelvis, and our spine is all connected. So now you can take a moment to relax. And we'll change our position around, so we'll face towards the wall. So you will face the wall and you'll step away from the wall. And you'll basically do a downward facing dog, but against the wall. So your feet can be as wide, as close as you like, toes pointing towards the wall, and you bring the hands onto the wall. So you aim to have your hips over your heels, and your hands will never be lower than your hips. They can be much higher. And especially if you're new to the practice, you can have your hands even wider as well to create more space in your neck and your shoulders. So you want space. You spread the fingers out wide. And so here, imagine that you can take your hips back. So you lengthen your lower back. And there's a bit of softness in the chest. So if you're hypermobile, you want to be really mindful that you don't drop into your shoulder blades. How does that feel in your body?
Really good.
So it's a nice stretch in the lower back. And certainly even a pose that a lot of women enjoy during labor, because it's just a pose that creates space in the pelvic outlet, but also a pose where you can kind of draw inwards if there's a lot of things going on around you. So even your knees could stay soft if that feels more comfortable in the body. So let's slowly go all the way up again, so just lift off and away from the wall, so you can come all the way away from the wall. Wonderful. Yeah. So we'll create a little bit more strength. So we'll stay with the wall just for a moment, and we'll face the wall again. We'll come into a warrior pose. So from here, you'll step your right toes just so they touch the wall. The left foot can come a little bit further out, so you have a wide step. Bring your fingertips to the wall. So here you can probably take a longer step if that feels good. And maybe take your left foot further out to the left side, just so you have more space. Bring your fingertips to the wall and press into the wall, but your fingertips So your chest moves slightly away. Your right thigh moves back. And then you can bend your front knee so the right knee can bend. Wonderful. The back leg can be super strong and straight without locking any knees. How is that? Good. So with your hands on the wall, really find that lift through the chest. Keep pressing into that back third. And so you can stay here to find that length and neutral spine. Or you simply bring your forearms towards the wall so your elbows are where your hands are, so you can go further forward. You can bring your head towards the wall as well if that feels good. And if you need more space, you take your feet wider. Wonderful. So keep the front knee bent. How does it feel if you take your head towards the wall? Does that work? Yeah. You might have to have your hands wide. You can stretch your arms onto the wall, so bring your palms to the wall. And you can walk your hands higher, you can walk them further away from each other, so you can find a bit of release. So again, if you're highly mobile, hop into your shoulder blades a bit. If you're quite tight, just allow a bit of softness in your upper body, but keeping the strength through your hips. Just enjoy one more breath. And then bring your hands back down, near your shoulders, straighten the arms. We'll step the right leg back so we get that downward facing dog again. Feet underneath the hips. A bit wider. So whatever feels good. And just for a moment, just soften the knees a little bit more. And then really feel the hips moving away. So it takes out some of the pressure in the lower back. You can imagine baby just hanging out in the hammock of your belly. It's a perfect position for baby. And go ahead and step your left foot forward. So that can come all the way towards the wall. And just turn your right heel slightly in. That's it. So finding stability, straighten both arms so you have your fingertips on the wall. That's it. How does that feel in your hips and your knees? So again, you can always have a wider step if that feels better. Bend your left knee. That's the front one, yeah. Keep the left thigh moving back, so again, that stability. Press your fingertips in to lift your heart and stability through the hips. So if you feel your calf muscles are very tense, or you have a lot of cramps, you can enjoy this as a way of stretching out in your calf. And even create a bit of space to the front of your right hip. Go ahead and bring your forearms onto the wall. And maybe even the hip to the wall, if that feels good. If that's too much, you just rest your hands on your fists. And again, maybe stay here. You can stretch your arms higher or wider, whatever feels just perfect. Allowing your chest to relax. Just your natural breath. If you feel you have a lot of tension, you can sigh out through your mouth at any time. Just let it all go. Let's just enjoy one more breath. Slowly walk your hands back near your shoulders. Step your left leg back into that downward facing dog again. So if you're used to yoga and you enjoy downward dog but it just feels too heavy, then you get the same benefits but not so much pressure in the shoulders and wrist here. So very slowly come all the way up to standing. So just lift the chest, walk your feet a little bit closer. So if you feel dizzy after having the hip down, you take a moment to create space again. Good. Ready to sit down? Yeah. Chair. So we'll come onto the chair. So you simply sit down onto the chair. And just have your feet pressing down onto the floor or down on the mat. So finding a comfortable seat, so where your sitting bones press down the crown of the head legs. How is this chair for you?
Yeah, it's great.
So obviously there's a rest, but we want to strengthen the muscles of the back, so we'll stay sitting upright. So we're going to sit cross-legged if you can. So we'll take the right ankle over the left knee. So all the way up if that works. And you can take the left foot further up to the side, maybe so you have a bit more space. How does that work? Yeah. So kind of space issues are sometimes a bit of a problem, so you might have to shift around a little bit. So at this stage, maybe hold to the back of the chair or onto the side so you can really lift through the chest, and using that as a way to lift through the chest. So you've drawn across the collarbones, really nice. So depending on how big your bump is, so Lily won't be able to move far forward. But if you had the space to do that, you could shift to the front of the sitting bones and basically start to lean forward. So you don't have a lot of space to do that. But you could enjoy that sense of coming to the front of the sitting bones. So you start to maybe feel it in your right hip? Yeah. So find a nice space that you feel comfortable in your knee joint, but there might be a strong sensation in your right thigh, your right hip. And that should feel quite nice, even if it's intense. So just take a deep breath wherever you feel a strong sensation, and allow the exhale to be complete. So you're ready for the other side? Yeah. So slowly bring that right foot down. Place the right foot firmly on the floor, and then the left knee comes over. So again, you'll kind of notice that there's not so much space to move at this stage. So you find where it feels comfortable, and for some of us, we just feel very tight in the hips as well. So sitting up straight is what works for us the best. And we just find where our sitting bones does it feel good. When we lean back into the back of the sitting bones, when we lean forward, we come to the front of the sitting bones. So really you're going to explore where it feels perfect for you. And just allowing the breath to move into any tension that you may find. And as you exhale, just notice if you can release some of the tension. And also be mindful if there's a sharp pain, that pain might be a place you need to ease away from. Nice feeling. So go ahead and uncross the legs. So we're going to come off the chair in a moment. So before you do that, you can keep one foot raised, just take the other foot slightly forward, so you can start to almost rock all the way up to standing. So being mindful of how you actually come off the chair. This is a science in itself, come off and on, off the floor and on the floor again. So when you're ready, you press into your feet to come all the way up to standing. Yeah! So we'll move a bit closer towards the earth. So we'll face towards the chair. And from here, just have your feet a little bit wider, get it at least as wide as your hips. And just bring your hands towards the chair so you can use a bit of a forward fold. So just for a moment, just enjoy a bit of a forward fold. If it's easier for you to come further down, elbows down to the chair, you can choose to do that. But find what feels good in your back. So any forward bend is from the hip joint, not the lower back. So we can even lean onto a table. So we just have the drawing inwards and forward, sense of coming back into our center. And slowly bend your knees a little bit. And so very gently come all the way back to standing. So we are going to come all the way down to the floor. So different ways of coming down to the floor. We'll come down through a squat. So from where you are, I'll come over here on the other side. We'll take the feet quite wide apart. And then bend the knees down. So if we have knee issues, we'll stop before it becomes painful. If we absolutely fine in our pelvis and knees. We can come all the way down when we listen to the body. Bring your hands in front of you and you shift onto your knees. Great. So from your knees, you will bring your elbows onto the chair. So you can bring your elbows onto the chair. And you are in this kind of forward bend again. So I think I want you to move a little bit further away. So basically you can have your head resting on the chair, so forward resting on the chair. So depending what's going on in our shoulders, this might be a little bit more challenging. So see if you can bend your elbows, take your elbows wide apart so you have a little bit more space. And take your knees wider so you have space as well for your hips. So if we have tight shoulders, which most of us do, if we sit downward, this is a way for us just to ease into the shoulders without pushing, we're just breathing, there's no effort. How does that feel in your shoulders?
Yeah, it's good.
So again, being mindful you don't hyperextend, but just finding a space where you can breathe. Allowing the breath just to ease in and out. Allowing the shoulder blades to relax. So again, imagine baby might be moving around a lot here, so it's resting in the hammock of your baby. So in a moment we'll relax a little bit more. So slowly lift off the chair again. Good. And just sit back onto your heels just for a short moment, having your knees wide apart. And we'll use the chair again, and this time there's even less effort. So your knees can be as wide apart as you like. And you're going to again just lean against the chair so your head can rest onto the chair, your forearms can rest on the chair, whichever way feels comfortable. So I might just take the chair a little bit closer, so if it's comfortable for your seat to be all the way down to your heels here, that might feel easier. Does that work?
Yeah.
If that's uncomfortable in your knees or your ankles, just shift higher, and you can take a blanket underneath your ankles or cushions between your thighs and your heels. So even in this pose, you can maybe just for a few moments just enjoy the pulsation of the pelvis. So this yoni mudra of inhaling, connecting to the pelvic floor, and on the exhale having a sense of release. But certainly in the state at 33 weeks, depending on how far along you are and how the shape of your bump is, this way you can fold inwards and still feel spacious. This might also be a pose that's nice to feel comfortable with for when you're in labor. Just a few breaths, just internal awareness. Just enjoy another couple of breaths. Letting the shoulders soften. The jaw release, the tongue relax. And so when you're ready, you can stay there for a long time, you can stay as long as you like. But for this purpose, you can lift away from the chair. Thank you. How was that? Very relaxing. It's very relaxing, so it's a nice way of just coming back in, and I think certainly during labour, if you are in a hospital or midwife ward, it's nice to have positions where you can just ignore everything that's around you.
Yeah, so no.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much.
Thank you.